सो चलो यूट्यूब भी ऑन हो गया। आइए अश्विनी जिंदल, वेलकम यू ऑल on this program after a hectic schedule of audit under 44 AB. Although हम सब देख रहे थे कि ये डेट पता नहीं बढ़ेगी कि नहीं बढ़ेगी, 15 सितंबर वाली उन्होंने एक दिन बढ़ाई, एक दिन भी नहीं, रादर 21 आवर्स बढ़ाई। तो उससे बड़ा एस्टिमेट हो गया था, पता नहीं क्या एटीट्यूड रहेगा ऑडिट के लिए। थैंक्स टू अवर ऑनरेबल कोर्ट्स कि उन्होंने ये चीजें समझी कि आउट ऑफ 35 लाख ऑडिट्स ओनली 3 लाख ऑडिट आए थे, और डिपार्टमेंट सीबीडीटी उसी को बेस बना रहा था कि 3 लाख आगे, 3 लाख आगे, दैट वर ओनली 10%। दिस इज द फैक्ट कि ऑडिट वो कंप्लीट नहीं हुए थे। थैंक्स टू अवर ऑनरेबल कोर्ट्स स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम राजस्थान, पंजाब, हरियाणा एंड देन कर्नाटका, एवरी कोर्ट where our tax professionals made with chartered accountant advocates file the writ petitions, and the decision were favorable in our favor well in advance. जैसे ही 25 तारीख को वो डिसीजन आया, उसी दिन मैंने अशोक बत्रा जी से बात की और हमने ये प्रोग्राम प्लान कर लिया। और मैंने जो नाम रखा था अशोक बत्रा सर की, वो बुक भी मेरे को रिसीव होगी बाई पोस्ट कल। थैंक्स सर। वो आपकी न्यू नेक्स्ट जेन रिजीम पे और जो टैरिफ के ऊपर बुक आ गई है, वो मेरे को मिल गई है। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई वेलकम आवर चीफ गेस्ट एंड टुडे आवर ओन सीए कुमार गौरव धवन जी, आईआरएस कमिश्नर, सीजीएसटी जलंधर, और हमारे आज के जीएसटी गुरु अशोक बत्रा जी, कमल अग्रवाल जी, ही इज आल्सो जीएसटी एक्सपर्ट, देन नेहा अग्रवाल जी, को फाउंडर वॉइस ऑफ सीए, गौरव गुप्ता जी, जो हमारे साहिल गुप्ता जी हमारे जीएसटी एक्सपर्ट और हमारे साथ काफी एसोसिएटेड है फ्रॉम लुधियाना, शुभम गोयल, आयुष अग्रवाल जो हमारे पैनलिस्ट में है, और 142 पार्टिसिपेंट विद 143 जैसे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं ये, तो ये हमारे ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं फॉर दिस प्रोग्राम। दिस इज नेक्स्ट जेन रिफॉर्म्स। जेन शब्द देखते ही हमें घबराहट हो जाती है कि जेन जी आ गया कि क्या आ गया, लेकिन ये बेनिफिट वाला जेन है। नेक्स्ट जेन में कि आपको सरकार ने अपने खजाने से खजाना लुटाया है, और इसमें सभी को फायदा हुआ है। और त्योहारों के सीजन में वी होप कि इससे डिमांड भी बढ़ेगी और हमारे को जेब पे बोझ कम पड़ेगा। तो इसके लिए हमने बत्रा सर को रिक्वेस्ट की, और सर को रिक्वेस्ट की कुमार गौरव धवन जी को। Although in his brief profile, when Mr. Gaurav Gupta will read, he will tell he is the most learned person in our fraternity, कि इन्होंने मतलब सभी डिग्रीज भी की हुई हैं विद ग्रेड नंबर 1 रैंक, एंड ही इज द कमिश्नर सीजीएसटी एट जलंधर। तो मैं सबसे पहले कुमार गौरव धवन सॉरी गौरव गुप्ता जी को ही कहूंगा कि गौरव जी को, कुमार गौरव जी को वो फॉर्मली इंट्रोड्यूस करें, ताकि वो जो गवर्नमेंट का विजन है और डिपार्टमेंट का विजन है, कैसे उन्होंने इसको रिफॉर्म्स को देखते हैं, तो वो मेंबरों के साथ शेयर करें। उसके बाद वी विल स्टार्ट विद द डिटेल डेलिब्रेशन विद आवर ओन जीएसटी गुरु अशोक बत्रा जी। गौरव गुप्ता जी।
Thank you, Jindal Saab, and warm welcome to GST Guru Ashok Batra ji, Neha, Kamal Agarwal ji, Ayush ji, Shubham ji, Sahil ji, and all the participants across the country who have joined us on this platform as usual. So VOCA is the only platform who keeps on delivering the every new thing for the profession and doing the common things for the profession at large. The people are so fast and eager to deliver everything that every new aspect is a new thing for them. Today, the topic of the day is Gen 3 reforms done by the government, and we are fortunate enough to have Ashok Batra ji for this and Kumar Gaurav Dhawan ji for this, who is also a blessing for Punjab people, I must say, Batra sir. With Kumar Gaurav Dhawan ji leading us sitting at Jalandhar is nothing less than a blessing for us, for all professionals working at Punjab area and nearby areas. CA Kumar Gaurav Dhawan ji, who is an IRS, presently heading the post of Commissioner Central GST Jalandhar. He's a 2005 batch IRS officer, presently posted at Jalandhar, and has served on deputation with Ministry of Health and Family Affairs Welfare, Government of India, as Deputy Director Admin, Postgraduate postgraduate PGIMER Chandigarh, and also the head of administration, engineering, information technology, legal, RTI wings of the institute, apart from being the state officer. So all these the current profile of Gaurav sir. For his earlier posting, he has been posted to Gurgaon, Delhi, Tax Research Unit, Delhi, Deputy Commissioner at various divisions in Jalandhar, Amritsar, Ludhiana. Also served as Joint Commissioner of GST and Central Excise Audit, Chandigarh, Additional Commissioner PNB, Chandigarh, Additional Commissioner, Chief Commissioner Office, Chandigarh also. He is a distinct professional, having got so much of awards and recognition at various areas of practice, various areas in which he is belonging for the last 20 years. He has been honored by NIRC as a Yashasvi CA Award at the 75th Foundation Day of the ICI, and in 2024 with his great accolades. He, as an individual who have demonstrated exceptional dedication, professionalism, and have made significant impact on the careers and the community. He is the best probationer and topper in departmental examination of IRS. He has been awarded a certificate of appreciation by Chief Commissioner of Custom Preventive New Delhi for exemplary performance in detecting custom duty evasion also. It was a great profile of him. He has been awarded certificate of appreciation by Chief Commissioner GST Chandigarh Zone on GST Day also recently. Going to his academic qualification, he has scored 93% marks in 12th boards. He's been being the topper in BCom honors also with Punjab University. He has also done company secretarieship in 2002 to 2004 with the first rank with ICSI, and he has also been Bachelor of Law with 71% marks in 2016 to 19 as LLB, and top of it, he has got the selected to IRS batch in 2005 as best probationer, topper in departmental examinations also. So much accolades to single person. He's the best person to serve at this custom commissionerate right now. Qualified in May 2002, he has also got 7th AIR in CA Foundation and 17th rank in CA Intermediate. So he has been honored several times by NIRC for exceptional services as a member in public services. He is also being, beside this, other achievement, he has been the top ranker in CS final, secretarial model tenure, various time co-opted members to various committees of ICI and the government bodies. Beside this, he has received commendation certificate on Independence Day 2021 from Honorable Governor of Punjab. He has also received appreciation letter from PGMR for acting as a team leader in accomplishing various tasks in a stipulated time limit. Awarded by the Media Federation of India and Public Research Council of India for excellence in public healthcare administration also in 2023. Sir, the list is so large that I must say that he is the best person to be on the board for the today's session. With this thing, my best regards to Kumar, Gaurav, Dhawan and all the listeners to this beautiful session. Thank you so much.
Over to sir. Sir.
थैंक यू गौरव जी, अश्विनी जी. पता नहीं आपने थोड़ा सा शायद अपनी तरफ से भी ऐड कर दिया उसमें, और मेरा टाइम आपने सारा ले लिया. आई थिंक आई कैन स्ट्रेट अवे आस्क फॉर exemption from Ashwini ji. Now my time is over. And first of all, my congratulations, best wishes to Ashwini ji, who keeps on organizing such seminars, webinars from time to time, wherein a lot of professionals gather together and enrich themselves from the words which come from the tax gurus, whether Girish Ooja ji as regards direct taxes or Ashok Batra ji as regards the GST. This GST 2 reforms, as we now call them, effective with effect from 22nd of September 2025, were long overdue, as we all know, but they have come at the right time, just at the start of the festive season, giving and ensuring more money in the hands of the consumers so that they can enjoy the festivals with a great fervor and fun and frolic. GST, as we know, we had multiple slabs, but now mostly there are only two slabs, 5% and 18%. and a lot of commodities have now been uh, given the tax slab of 5%, down from 18% and 12% or 28% to 18%. The benefits range from rupee 1 to 1 more than 1 lakh, and we have all seen in the last week or so that despite reduction in tax rates from 28 to 18 and 18 to 5, the GST tax collection for the month of September has grown by 17% as far as the Union Territory of Chandigarh is concerned. Of course, I think the status would be more or less the same elsewhere also. There may be a few instances where the revenue would have come down, but in the times to come, we would all see that the overall revenue would increase despite a substantial reduction in the rate of taxation. It has also helped in simplification of taxes. Talking of my jurisdiction, we had a long pending classification issue in Fagwada, which I think the classification issue started in 1998 when some case was booked by the then DGCI, now DGGI, and it continued even in the GST regime. I know it because only 3-4 months ago I had the fortune or misfortune of appealing against the order of my adjudicating authority who had decided against the revenue, because already the department had gone in the Supreme Court of India against one of the earlier decisions of the Honorable Tribunal, that is the CSTAT. But now, with this rate rationalization, the tariff rate for both the chapters in dispute, Chapter 11 and Chapter 34, has now been reduced to 5%. So that long pending dispute has been settled by the department. Of course, for the earlier period, we would wait for the decision by the Honorable Apex Court. Similarly, another issue which was there in the GST regime only, I'm holding charge of audit commissioner at Ludhiana also. So that's why I know, because the commissionerate caters to the whole state of Punjab. The issue regarding GST reversal as regards the commercial or financial credit notes. Again, a long pending issue. Demands worth crores of rupees were being issued. However, in Ludhiana Commissionerate, I had issued strict directions that we would wait for the last date. In case no clarification comes from the department, we would be duty bound to issue the show cause notices. But if at all any clarification comes, we would be vacating those demands or not issuing the show cause notices. As luck would have had it, the clarification came at the right time, just before 30th of September, and we have decided in the last monitoring committee meeting, which we, in fact, it was the extraordinary MCM, as we have the extraordinary AGMs, held on 18th of September, and we decided not to issue any show cause notice. So the audit detections amounting to more than 15 crores of rupees and about 54 audit paras were settled on account of this clarification from the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. So you would have understood that because of rate rationalization, many unintended benefits have also come, apart from the usual reduction in prices. Another thing that's only a day old, most of us would have either observed or come to know about the tweets, one of the tweet by one of the consumers or customers regarding no rate reduction despite the final output tax on hotels having a rate of less than 7,500. The tweet was that despite the rate having come down from 18% to 5%, the end price to him remained the same. Since the hotel pertained to my jurisdiction in Amritsar, and the services were being availed from one of the e-commerce operators. So we went into detail. We had a lot of discussions with the e-commerce operator also. Since the hotel was not named, so we checked with the most of the uh, prominent hotels in Amritsar. At the end of the day, what we found was that the hotels were indeed charging at 5% only, not at 18% or 12%. And the e-commerce operator also had shown us with the papers that the benefit was being passed on to the consumers. Thirdly, no such booking was ever made. So that was only a pre-booking screenshot, I think, which caused a lot of uproar, uh, at least on X, if not otherwise. So why I brought this into discussion was that we have to be guarded also. Of course, we have to be very vigilant. If the benefit is not being passed on to the consumer helpline number has been issued by the government and publicized also. The complaints, if any, can be made at that number. And as officers of the indirect tax department, we are duty bound to investigate into complaints and ensure that whatever benefit was intended by the government indeed reaches the end consumer. Some of the issues remain. I agree that the output tax has been reduced, but at certain places the input tax remains the same, or the input tax is at a higher rate, thus causing or continuing with the inverted tax structure. But we would also need to know that the inputs are not only for one particular industry, they are used by many other industries also, wherein the output tax may also be charged at the same rate as input. So wherever the inverted rate structure remains, the benefit of refund for inverted tax structure leading to accumulation of ITC, that provision is available, and the government will soon come up with the clarifications regarding the provisional 90% sanction of the refund in a period of less than even a week. So I would, on behalf of the government and one of you, would like to ensure that we are there for the consumers, and I would request each one of you to ensure that your clients, the general public, is also made aware about the benefits which are accruing to them, and in case of any non-passing of the intended benefit by any sector of economy, any industry, those issues must be brought to our notice so that we can take corrective action at the earliest possible. Wherever our cooperation, any clarification is required from our end, we are always there. We are available on email, we are available on phone, we are available physically also. Me and my officers are there throughout the Doaba and Macha region, and of course for audit for the whole state of Punjab. And also on behalf of Chandigarh zone, our chief commissioner, I would like to ensure and assure you that we are there for the customers, the end consumers, the professionals, and the trade and industry at large. Thank you once again, Ashwini ji, for giving me this opportunity. And uh, Ashok Batra ji, once again, I would not be able to continue in the webinar because Ashwini ji again told me at the last moment. And I never take any offense, because as one of the members of the profession, I know he has every right to call me even at 4:55 p.m. for a webinar at 5 p.m. And if I am there, I would always be there to join. Thank you so much once again.
Sir, my apology because due to tax audit report date, although I planned, in the morning, rather after 10 o'clock, I approached you for the words of wisdom. Because thank you very much, sir. हम आपको अपना ही समझते हैं. That's why we approach you at the last minute. Thank you very much for sharing the nice words with the members. But आज आपका हम वो वीडियो इशू मैं आपके पास पर्सनली आके ना ऑफिस में ये पहले ठीक करके जाता हूँ क्योंकि वो आपकी वीडियो रह जाती है हर बार.
मेरा पर्सनल लैपटॉप है आज, बिकॉज जलंधर आई थिंक इज हैविंग हॉलीडे, सो आई एम इन चंडीगढ़ टुडे. So office wale system mein issue, I think it's my personal laptop which is giving some problems. So I'll get it rectified before the next webinar.
Thank you very much, sir, for the nice words, sir. Now I request Neha Agarwal to say a few words and introduce Ashok Batra ji to for further request Shubham Goyal.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Batra sir. A very warm welcome. And सभी पैनलिस्ट को Mera namaste. Thank you, Shubham, for joining us. He's an advocate having expertise in indirect taxes with a post-qualification experience of 6+ years in representing clients at various judicial levels. He has assisted additional standing counsel for GNCTD representing the Delhi Goods and Service Tax Department. He's currently working as a senior associate at Gravatas Legal. I would request you to please quickly introduce Batra sir for us.
Thank you, Neha. Good evening, everyone. Today we have with us CA Advocate Ashok Batra sir, our GST Guru, who is distinguished alumnus of the prestigious Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi. Currently, Ashok Batra sir is a senior partner at AK Batra and Associates, a leading chartered accountancy firm in Northern India, with an illustrious academic record and over 4 decades of professional experience in various areas, including accounting, auditing, tax planning, consultancy, and litigation since 1982. During the service tax regime, Ashok Batra sir was a highly sought after professional handling complex tax matters involving substantial financial stakes. With the implementation of Goods and Services Tax Act, his expertise and reputation have continued to grow, earning him recognition as a leading GST professional. His unwavering devotion and dedication to exploring new dimensions of GST are truly commendable. Even senior officers of the GST department take pride and pleasure in seeking his insightful opinion on complex GST matters. I welcome you, Batra sir, on behalf of Voice of CA. Over to you now, sir.
Thank you, Shubham. Good evening to everyone. Everybody, when talk about these reforms, talk about only rate of tax or reduction in the classification dispute. But if you look at the fine prints, the notifications which has been issued on 17th of September 2025, maybe for the public at large, the issue is only reduction in rate of tax, but as a professional, 11 provisions of Finance Act 25, which was enacted in May 25, has been made applicable from 1st October 2025. And today it is 3rd October. Those provisions have already been made applicable. And nobody is talking about the amendment in the rules. There are various changes in the rules. Particularly when we are going to file the appeal in tribunal, even there a new form has been introduced and there is a change in the rules. So in case we look at these changes, I'll say these can be divided into 4 very important segments. One is change in rate of tax, which is with effect from 22nd September 2025. Second is statutory provision, including 217F, 34, etc., have been made applicable from 1st October 2025, which is a very important change. Perhaps not being given the due publicity because public is not interested into that. But as a professional, I need to understand what are the laws as of 1st October. And then third is change in the rules. There is a change in rule in 31, 91, 38, so many other rules, 110, 114. So we'll be discussing all those rules also. And then there have been certain recommendations made by the GST Council in the 56th Council meeting, but could not be implemented because that require amendment in the statutory provision. For example, if you talk about intermediary services, so if you think the amendment has already been taken place and intermediary services are being shifted to recipient based, you are absolutely incorrect. That require amendment in section 13, which is yet to be taken place, and like that there is an amendment which is required in section 54 dealing with the refunds. Similarly, in valuation section 15, there are certain amendments which are to be made. Then only these provisional refund, etc., what my Chief Commissioner Mr. Gaurav Dhawan was talking about, will take effect. So we'll take one by one all these changes. Firstly, I'll talk about the change in rate of tax with regard to goods, which are applicable from 22nd September 2025. A very rare phenomena has been introduced. I am practicing in these fields since 2006 very extensively, and whenever there was a concessional rate of tax, hardly ITC was being allowed. you talk about abatement period, or you talk about concessional period. But for the first time in this career of spanning for more than 25 years, I am looking at now there is a concessional rate of tax with ITC. You need to read it. You need to understand it. When my publisher asked me, Mr. Batra, we should come out with the books, मैं कहा यार rate of tax में क्या करना है? But once I look at the notification, I said, okay, let us work on it, because people are not appreciating. There are so many changes which, if we not highlight in our seminars like this, our professional brothers may not be able to understand that, because they are busy in filing their income tax returns, and those provisions have already become applicable with 1st of October 2025. So a very rare phenomena wherein concessional rate of tax with ITC is available. For example, you talk about job work, you talk about third-party insurance of goods tariff, you talk about services by way of admission to exhibition of cinematography films where price of ticket is 100 rupees or less. So all are taxable at concessional rate of 5%, good sign, with ITC. If that being the scenario, and we have been under the mindset that normally when there is a concessional rate of tax, there is no ITC available, and this being such a huge exception, I think Kamal ji कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं? आप कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं?
No sir. Please carry on.
तो ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है जो हम लोगों को देखनी पड़ेगी. जहां कहीं भी 5% का रेट है, आप नोटिफिकेशन को जाएं और देखें. दूसरा, अगर आप गुड्स की बात करें तो पहले 1/2017 नोटिफिकेशन थे which deals with the exempted goods, and 2/2017 थी which deals with the tax rate on goods. Of course, there were different schedules earlier on, nil, 5, 12, 18, 28, cess, etc. And now they have been renumbered in 9/2025 and 10/2025. दोनों नोटिफिकेशन, both the notification 1/2017 and 2/27 have been substituted. Please mind my word, substituted by notification number 9/2025 and by notification number 10/2025, which means with effect from 22nd September 2025, you need not refer to those notifications at all. They have been substituted, and Supreme Court has very clearly said if any provision is being substituted, so therefore from the period onwards, you cannot even look at that provision which has been gone from the record. So ये 9/2025 और 10/2025 substitute हुई है. But when we talk about services, then there is no substitution of notification number 11/2017 and 12/2017. Rather, there have been amendment made in both the notifications. So there is a huge difference when we talk about goods rates and we talk about service rates. In service rates, these notifications have been amended, whereas in the case of goods, they have been substituted. Going further, we all know there is no slab of 12% and 28%. But still now, if you talk about bricks, etc., they are liable to be taxed at 12% because that is under a different notification. A scheme was being introduced, and that scheme is not being changed. So if you think the department cannot levy 12% tax, it is still there on the bricks. Then introduction of new slab of 40% for luxury and demerit goods. And finally, abolition of cess, except on tobacco and related product till their financial obligations are met. Now, do you think these two notifications are the only notifications which deal with the rate of tax on goods? If you think so, then you are mistaken. Kindly refer to notification number 11/2025, which provide exemption to goods supplied for specified petroleum and other exploration and production under various schemes under GST. So when you are looking at the exemption to the goods supplied for specified petroleum product, you have to go to notification number 11. You have to go to notification number 12/2025, dated same 17 September 2025, when you are looking at the effective rate of CGST on old and used motor vehicle, old and used motor vehicle. Of course, there is no change in the rate of tax and the manner in which the tax is being calculated. There is a technical change because in Schedule 1, in notification number 1, schedule numbers were different. Now, because they are referring to notification number 9, schedule number is different. Then you have to look at notification number 13. Sorry, 13 upon 2025, which deals with the central tax rates on handicraft goods. And as I told you, 14 upon 2025 is another notification you have to look into to find out the rate of tax on bricks, fly ash, aggregate blocks, earthen or roofing tiles. So kindly appreciate, besides 9 upon 2025 and 10 upon 2025, which has substituted the earlier notification 1 and 2 of 2017, you have to refer to notification number 11 for specific exemptions to exploration products, etc. 12 for used and old and used motor vehicle, 13 for handicraft item, and 14 for brick, fly ash, aggregate blocks, where there is a 12% without GST also. With GST. In addition to this, one thing which you have committed a mistake, I'm suggesting all of you not to commit any mistake. There are exemption notification number 9/2025 so far as goods are concerned. We have been discussing this, and 1 upon 2017 so far as services are concerned. But then there are certain services and goods which are liable to be taxed at nil rate in the rate notification. Even our staff once committed a mistake, and once we are giving an opinion whether this service is exempted or not, we never looked at the rate notification. We are looking at only exemption notifications. And then the client itself suggested me, Mr. Batra, if you look at this rate, there is a nil rate. What does it signify? Then I realized if you look at the definition of exempt supply, which includes exempted supply under section 6 and 11, and also items which are liable to be taxed at nil rate. So both remain exempted. But once we are giving any opinion whether this product is exempted, normally we always refer to the notification which deal with the exemptions only. And we don't look at the rate notification, because in that notification also there can be a nil rate, which is also exempt supply. So be careful and take care of this. Then another important thing, so far as services are concerned, certain definitions have been amended. So with the amendment in the definitions, the scope of the exemption has been reduced or widened. So be careful about this. Now I am going to talk about a controversy with regard to the leviability of cess, wherein there is a huge hue and cry, particularly by the automobile dealers, either they are in Punjab or Haryana or Delhi. Everybody is sailing in the same boat. We all understand whatever credit balance is lying in their cess account, they can't use it, because cess liability, cess credit can be used only for the discharge of cess liability. And with effect from 22nd of September, the rate of tax on vehicle has been increased from 28 to 40% with no cess. So obviously from 22nd of September, there is no there is no liability so far as cess is concerned. So obviously that cess will become their cost. But then there is another view which is there in the professional circle, and the debate is on, because the cess is being levied under Cess Act and there is a nil rate of tax. So that means it is an exempted supply under Cess Act. So therefore, section 18 subsection 4 will get triggered, and you have to reverse the credit on the stock which are lying on the day when there is a change in the rate of tax, that 22nd of September. If section 18(4) is being made applicable, and then I am supposed to reverse the cess liability on the closing stock, and in one of the dealer case, there is a huge difference of 40 crore rupees. If I am having a huge number of stock of vehicle, whereas my credit of cess is very less, then obviously if I work out the reversal in 18(4), then a huge liability may arise, which I have to pay in cash. So I'm sure there was a tweet by our ex-president Vajan also stating this issue, though he deals in income tax, But of course, his client also asked him the same question and he also tweeted on that front. Anyway, there have been number of things which are going on WhatsApp regarding this particular issue. I have tried to examine it and I have already given my opinion in the book which has been shown by Mr. Jindal ji. So मेरा बड़ा simple सा कहना है कि intention was to repeal the Cess Act. They could not repeal it because there have been certain financial obligations which remain to be settled, and therefore they said will continue with this till those obligations are being met. In rest of the cases, that is tobacco and tobacco product, in rest of the cases, everything is nil. So practically, they have repealed the Cess Act with the saving clause of tobacco. So my simple argument is, once it is being repealed act except for tobacco, so we need not look at this act for other items are concerned. Secondly, this talk about wholly exempted goods, whether the cars have become wholly exempted, rather they have become taxable at a higher rate. Earlier on, this rate was 28% plus cess applicable, ranging from 12% to 17%. So, of course, in most of the cases, there might be reduction in the rate of tax because the effective rate of tax was 45%, which has now come down to 40%. But is it exempted? In my humble opinion, it is liable to be taxed at a higher rate rather than that because cess has been subsumed into it. And logically and otherwise also, it requires that you need not have to reverse the credit on 18(4), which is applicable only with regard to exempted supplies. So my humble submission is, and I have given my opinion, which may be upheld by the court or which may be, the court may not accept my argument and they may say you have to reverse. In that case, it will be a huge liability. So we requested the ministry through the association, FADA, etc., but somehow no clarification has come till date. So my humble opinion is this cess will remain only a cost and 18(4) is not attractive because neither it is an exempted supply, it doesn't fall into that, nor the provision of the cess act can be applied because they have retained it only for a limited purpose. For all practical purpose, this act has been repealed. So in any case, you may have a different opinion on this front, but this is my understanding which I am sharing with you. Then I would like to talk about पान मसाला मैकेनिज्म. वो एमआरपी पे लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. पान मसाला वालों के साथ इन्होंने कई बार valuation mechanism amended. Sometimes it was machinery based, sometimes it was MRP based, sometimes it was on presumptive basis and all that. But still, this is one industry where they give you a pocket of 1 rupee and the tax is 87% effectively. Huge tax liability, so there is a huge incentive to evade tax. So therefore, the industry also comes with a innovative measure. They will fix up the mixing machine on the truck. Those trucks are lying in the factory. When the department comes, those trucks moves away from the back door. And when they visit, there is no machinery involved into that. So innovative mechanism by department also, innovative mechanism by the industry also. But in any case, now they are shifting to the price-based valuation, which will be applicable only after the cess is being repealed. Now, another question is whether this benefit moves on to the ultimate customer. अभी सर ने भी एक केस बताया होटल इंडस्ट्री का, या उन्होंने बताया कि उसका बेनिफिट दे दिया गया. कि इसमें दो चीजें हैं. एक तो इंडियन मेट्रोलॉजिकल एक्ट 2009 read with legal metrological package commodity rules 2011 comes into picture so far as goods are concerned. उसमें आपको जहां रेट लगाना, स्टिकर लगाना था, स्टिकर के ऊपर पुराना रेट और नया रेट दोनों दिखाई देने थे. But if you are charging the price separately with the rate of tax and rate of tax is being charged separately, so there is no doubt about that. That is a simplest situation where one can see whether the benefit has been passed or not. The problem comes only when I charge a consolidated amount including the rate of tax. So, number of concessions being given, and ultimately the department also said that we don't want to invoke section 171, which is a part of the statute anti-profiting authority. Of course, there is no authority after 1st April 2025 and they have not notified it. They said we are depending on the trade industry and the market practices when this benefit is being given. So Indian Metrological Act, if you read without the clarification which has come from the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, which are 3 clarifications, will lead you to the wrong conclusion. So kindly read those 3 clarifications wherein a lot of concession has been given. Now, as per the last clarification, the manufacturer has to issue only a circulars, etc., to the wholesaler or distributor. And if they have communicated through circular, if even advertisement in the newspaper is not required. You must have seen number of advertisement has come from various companies. In fact, it was legally mandated under Legal Metrological Act, but then so many concessions being given. So this being only a transitional problem. So new packing will come with the new prices, etc. So this is another angle which you must look at it. And in case there is a notice from Metrological Act, then you must give these clarifications also. Now, friends, with the rate of tax, I am not classifying which goods have come cheaper, which has become costlier, etc. So that is not for me to judge. Whatever is the rate of tax, it is the rate of tax. The government has done it. The benefit must reach the public at large. Now I am coming to the most important deliberation of my today's session. That is the applicability of new statutory provision which has come into effect with 1st October 2025. It has already been implemented. Finance Act ने पास कर दिया था, enactment हो चुकी थी. As we know, even if the finance bill has become an act, our section doesn't get implemented unless otherwise they are notified. Now the notification has been issued and the following statutory provision has been made mandatory. So I request all the professional brothers to listen this part of my deliberation very carefully, because this is the most important part of my deliberation. First such amendment is in clause 69C of CGST Act, which defines the term local authority. Local authority की definition में municipal or local fund has been used. It has been changed to local fund and municipal fund, and both the funds has been defined. The definition of local authority is so important because if you look at the exemption notification, most of the exemptions are to the central government, state government, local authority or governmental authority, and sometimes government entity also. So all these definitions becomes very important and part of the exemption. So once these definitions are not being understood very clearly, so obviously they can lead to non-availability of the exemption also. So now municipal fund and local fund has already been defined. I'll request all of you, the time is not all that great which I was thinking. It is already 5:51. We had 1 hour and 9 minutes and I have a lot more ground to cover. So kindly read these definitions very carefully before you decide whether this exemption is available to local authority, whether the recipient is falling under the definition of local authority or not. In my humble understanding, the issue has become more clearer with the clarity in the definition of local fund and municipal fund. Another important change in section 2 is a new clause 116 capital A has been inserted to define the term unique identification marking. अब आप कहेंगे ये unique identification marking क्या है? If you read section 148 capital A, which has been implemented from 1st October and which deals with the track and trace mechanism, इसके rules नहीं आए अभी. Section implement कर दिया गया है and I am hopeful in couple of days you will see the rules. And in this section, the government has got a power to identify and notify certain goods or a class of persons who will follow this mechanism. And if they don't follow this mechanism, then they are subject to penalty, for which a new section has been made applicable with effect from 1st October. So this clause defines the unique identification marking which has to be put on a particular product. उसकी definition उन्होंने दी है and they have clarified what does it mean. अब second बहुत important notification, आज section 12 subsection 4 and subsection 4 of section 13 of the CGST Act, which deals with the time of supply of voucher, is being deleted. Now it is not a part of the statute. ये खत्म हो गया है section. ऐसा क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि वोचर्स को उन्होंने कहा कि इट इज नाइदर ए सप्लाई ऑफ गुड्स नॉर ए सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस, एट बेस्ट इट कैन बी ट्रीटेड एज ए एक्शनेबल क्लेम। और एक बड़ा डिटेल्ड सर्कुलर आया था 243/37/2024 डेटेड 31 दिसंबर 2024, जहां उन्होंने ये कहा था कि ये वोचर इज ओनली ए मीन्स ऑफ पेमेंट, इट इज एज गुड एज कैश। और आरबीआई से भी गाइडलाइंस के उन्होंने सर्कुलर में काफी डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन किया व्हाट इज वोचर। सो according to the department, it is nothing but a prepaid instrument equivalent to cash and bank, so not liable to be taxed. Looking at the fact these vouchers are not subject to tax, so this rule has become redundant. So they have deleted these rules, these sections, subsection. So subsection 4 of section 12 and subsection 4 of section 13 is being deleted. Then another important amendment जो सब कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री को अफेक्ट करती हैं and which has created a hue and cry when the Supreme Court judgment came in the case of Safari Retreat. I'm talking about nothing but block credits and particularly clause C and D of section 17(5). Now, the word plant or machinery has been replaced with plant and machinery with effect from 1st July 2017। 1 जुलाई 2017 से plant or machinery will be read as plant and machinery in clause D of section 17(5). Still, there are certain people who are saying in case you are constructing a mall, then you can claim the credit because once you are leasing it out, it is not your own account and the construction has to be on account so far as D is concerned. And we all know once the contract has been given with material that falls in C, there is no dispute, no credit available. So now they are coming out with a planning mechanism wherein they are buying the goods by the contractor and they are providing labor services, and they say this building is not their own account. I don't subscribe to that view. That view is there. People are given opinion in writing also on that issue. But with due respect to all of those professionals who are of that view, I don't agree with them. In my humble opinion, the intention is very clear. Either you award the contract with material or you buy the material yourself and avail the services from the contractor. Is not going to make any difference, and it is a block credit, so it is not available. So the argument of the department, functionality test, plant or machinery, etc., because now it is plant and machinery, not plant or machinery, is not going to work. So this amendment, which may be controversial, but which has a huge impact on the companies, so far as construction companies are concerned, has also been implemented with effect from 1st October 2025. But mind it, that word has been substituted with effect from 1st July 2017, the day this act came into operation. Am I clear? Chaliye. Moving next. Now that amendment is in section 34. What is section 34? Section 34 deals with the debit and credit note. Now we all know they are introducing invoice matching system, IMS. Earlier on, the argument was my output tax liability will get reduced when I issue credit note, only when the ITC has been reversed by the recipient. But there was no mechanism for that. Now with effect from 1st October, they say because the IMS is there and we are asking you to accept the credit note, or you can modify it also. So therefore, now it is practically possible to see whether the recipient has reversed the credit or not. So depending on that situation, if I have accepted the credit note, I have reversed my ITC, then only your output tax liability gets reduced. So that 34(2) has also been made applicable with effect from 1st October 2025. अभी हमारे चीफ कमिश्नर साहब कह रहे थे कि हमारे 15 करोड़ रुपए के हमने कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट वाले पे नहीं दिया. आई कैन स्टिल टेल यू, हमारे यहाँ 4 या 5 केस इस पे है, कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट पे चल रहे हैं. आज भी कमिश्नर इस बात को मानने को तैयार नहीं है, इन स्पाइट ऑफ द फैक्ट द सर्कुलर इज ऑलरेडी देयर. बट एनीवे, every kind of bureaucrats are there. So now with 34(2) amendment taking effect from 1st October, so kindly make note, if you are issuing a credit note under section 34, your output tax liability will get reduced only when the ITC is being reversed by the recipient. Now section 38, which deals with the communication of detail of inward supplies and the amount is being transferred to your 2A and now 2B. Yahan bhi there are 3 changes being made in this section 38. And if you look at all the 3 changes that I am going to speak, the intention is very clear. With these 3 amendments, the government has taken a lot more power to put any restrictions or conditions for the availment of credit. For example, in subsection 1 and 2, they have omitted the word that is system driven. So that means now it is not automatically come. They can permit you to edit it also. The department can put up other conditions also. If you remember, I don't remember, it is Finance Act which was there in force, and at that point of time, they very clearly stated that we will put up more conditions even if you are eligible for the credit under section 62. If you don't satisfy those conditions, your ITC can be blocked. So with this, now these amendments have been made effective. I am sure the department may issue certain notification saying that your credit will not be permissible subject to the following conditions. And then they have omitted the word "and" in section 38(2)(a), which is grammatical correction because the new clause has been introduced. And as per the new clause, that is C, such other details as may be prescribed. So now it is not system generated. They can make the changes by issuing a notification. So how GSTR 1 will be reflected in 2B and subject to which your credit will be permissible, we have to see in the times to come, but the law has already been amended now. 38 in its amended form has come into picture from 1st October. Of course, 1st October is the common date for everyone, but I'll speak wherever the amendment has been made retrospective. It is only one abhi tak maine jo bataya, that was in the case of plant and machinery in 17.5. Then section 39, which deals the filing of return, jahan aap 3B file karte hain, that is also proposed to be amended. और proposal थी, एक्ट में भी आ गई थी, एक्ट भी बन गया था और नोटिफाई भी कर दिया, और उसमें ये लिख दिया within such time and subject to such conditions and restrictions as may be imposed. So whether you are able to file 3B unless otherwise your 2B has come, whether you can file your 3B unless otherwise you have submitted your GSTR 1. So all these conditions, GST 1, etc., is already in place, but now in 55th, not 6th, 55th GST Council, they suggested that जब तक आपका 2B नहीं आएगा, you will not be permitted to file 3B. 3B can be filed only when 2B will be incorporated. So those kind of conditions now can be implemented. And section 39, wherein the words, again I am repeating, subject to such condition and restrictions as may be prescribed. In fact, they say within such time and subject to such condition and restrictions. That is being added in section 39 and it has become operational. Now we have to see whether any notifications are issued under the amended section 39 and what are those conditions with regard to the time, etc. Then friends, a change which is under section 107 and 112. We all know 107 is appeal to the commissioner and 112 is appeal to the tribunal. What is the change? Earlier on, if I was filing an appeal against an order where tax, interest and penalty was there, I was supposed to pay 10% of the tax amount and I could have filed the return. Nothing to be deposited so far as penalty, interest, fee, etc. is concerned. But there was a lacuna. In case the appeal relates to only the imposition of penalty, then no deposit was to be made. And we all know, we all professionals are aware of the fact that with regard to the fake invoicing, उन्होंने पहले कह दिया, if you are issuing an invoice, goodless invoice, then there is no taxable liability. So no tax demand can be created. Similarly, when receiving the goodless invoices, I cannot avail the credit. So therefore, there cannot be any tax demand, only penalties are there. In most of the fake invoicing cases, in some cases, of course, the ITC demand is there. But in most of the cases where I am indulged into taking goodless invoicing, issuing goodless इनवॉइसेस ऑन बोथ द साइड, मैं बिल लेके बिल बेच रहा हूं तो मुझे सिर्फ पेनल्टी लगा करती थी. And now, with the penalty, I was not supposed to pay any amount. So it was a grave injustice to the other people who were involved. There was a tax demand also. So we have seen cases with the demand of hundreds and crores have been created as a penalty under that section because the amount of penalty was 100 with the tax ought to be evaded. And in a huge scams of these kind of amounts, there was a huge liability. Now they need to be very, very careful because 1 अक्टूबर तो आ गया, उससे पहले जीएसटी ट्रिब्यूनल में ऑपरेशनलाइज कर दिया, बट वी कुड नॉट फाइल एनी अपील because it has been staggered, which I'll come later on. But fact is that we could not file appeal because the system was not permitting us to file the appeal. So even in those cases where appeal order has been passed by the commissioner, party has been confirmed, and we tried to file the appeal. Even physically, we have filed appeals in 1 or 2 cases to say that because these provisions were not there, the system was not permitting us, so we have filed the appeal. And even sometimes the commissioners have been very smart enough. They have decided the personal hearing and they were not issuing the order. And now because it has been implemented, they are issuing the order also. So both with the smartness was there. So in some cases, we have tried to file the appeal physically. I don't know how the court will take this view. But the fact remains from 1st October 2025, there is no doubt if we are filing an appeal before the tribunal, then 10% of the penalty amount has to be paid, which is a huge liability. And particularly a person who has been dealing into invoices, only taking commission of 0.5% and 1%, and the huge demand of 100 crore is there, or penalty of 100 crore, he has to pay 10 crore rupees in white. I don't know what will happen to those cases and all that. And at the same time, there is a propaganda going on because once the tribunal has come into picture and there are likely to be 4 lakh appeal and there are 30 benches and 36 places they will be sitting and all that. And in case they decide 500 appeals per month, how many appeals can be divided, how much time it will take, 6 years, 7 years of the backlog. Is it worthwhile to go with that kind of a legacy dispute? So there is a possibility that they may come out with some amnesty scheme. So all those who are concerned with these kind of penalties, they may have to wait and try their luck. If it happens, fine. Otherwise, this provision has become applicable now. A small relief has come. Whenever there is a penalty under section 129, that is seizure or detention of goods or vehicle in transit, then I was supposed to pay 25% of the penalty as pre-deposit. Now even that 25% has been reduced to 10%. So marginal relief to one category of person which are facing penalty charges under section 129, which deals with the detention or confiscation of goods or vehicle. So this is another important change which we need to take care. Another amendment, section 122 capital B, is being introduced from 1st October 2025. It deals with the penalty for not complying with the provisions of track and trace mechanism, जो मैंने आपको बताया 148A में a new section has been inserted for specified goods or specified class of persons. They can specifically, you have to follow this mechanism. The rules are not being formulated and notified right now. They are likely to be formulated and notified. So once they will be notified, then we see on which product this 148 will be applicable. Then the next change is 148A only, which is inserted. And because the rules are not there, so I am not able to comment on it in a detailed manner. But once the rule will come, I will be able to tell you whether it is applicable on a particular class of person or particular goods, etc. Now, another amendment in section that is in Schedule 3. And we all know Schedule 3 deals with the activities which are neither supply of goods nor supply of service. The changes are being made in para 8 and explanations explaining this. Firstly, I'll tell you what is the change which is being introduced now. And this change is also from 1st July 2017. Though Schedule 3 is being amended now, made applicable this amendment 1st October 25, like 17.5, but they will come into effect from 1st July 2017. So this is the second change which is coming retrospectively. In this change, if you look at the law, clause within bracket AA is being introduced. Clause A was there, which says the sale from the warehousing zone when the goods are cleared in domestic area or export is not liable to be taxed. So this is a clause which is being introduced with retrospective effect. So even if you had got a litigation which is going on and you have sold certain goods or cleared certain goods from the warehouse goods, then you are not liable to pay tax because they are exempted not from 1st October but from 1st July 2017. So a huge relief to those who have been litigating these matters and they have cleared their goods from the warehouse goods. And with regard to the explanations, they have cleared the first explanation will be applicable only with regard to A clause only, that is warehouse goods as defined in custom. And then explanation 2 says it is clarified that it is applicable to 8A only. And then explanation 3 has been inserted, where it has been provided that warehousing zone under SEZ, FTWZ, that is free trade warehousing zone, and domestic tariff area will have the same meaning which is there in section 2 of SEZ Act. So now there is absolute clarity, and 8AA, if you have cleared any goods from the warehouse which are a warehouse that means treated as a foreign territory, either it is for domestic clearance or it is for export, it is not subject to tax, and that too retrospectively a much related relief which is being introduced. Then section 137 of the Finance Act, I'm not saying CGST Act, Finance Act, also provide कि ये जो amendment हम लाए हैं 1 जुलाई 2017 से in para 8AA by inserting this clause, and if you have paid any tax because of any reason and you are not subject matter of litigation, that tax will not be refunded. Now it has become a practice. जो आदमी ईमानदारी से काम करता है, टैक्स देता है, तो उसको टैक्स वापस नहीं करते हैं. तो ये इन्होंने यहाँ भी कर दिया और ये भी मेड एप्लीकेबल कर दिया कि अगर शेड्यूल 3 की चेंजेस नहीं भी होती और अगर आज क्योंकि 17 से अमेंडमेंट हो गया है तो आपको टैक्स नहीं देना चाहिए था, बट अगर आपने टैक्स जमा करा दिया है तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप जमा करा दीजिए, लेकिन आपको रिफंड उसका नहीं मिलेगा. तो ये चेंजेस हैं जो स्टैट्यूटरी प्रोविजंस में आई हैं. अगर किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है बीच में लेना चाहते हैं तो ले लें, नहीं तो मैं आई मूव टू द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक, दैट इज चेंजेस मेड इन सीजीएसटी रूल्स.
अगर किसी का क्वेश्चन है
Just a
तो
small-
करते हैं अब तक.
सर जस्ट ए स्मॉल पॉइंट, 129 में रिलीफ तो इन्होंने टेक्निकल दे दी, पर प्रैक्टिकली तो सर गाड़ी पूरी पेनल्टी जमा किए बजाय छूटती नहीं है.
आई डू एग्री विद यू,
Yeah.
लड़ना पड़ेगा क्योंकि वहां बैंक गारंटी का भी प्रोविजन है, बट आई एग्री विद यू प्रैक्टिकली बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम डिटेंशन इज सम अदर स्टेट, और आप यहाँ बैठे हैं राजस्थान में, आपको ट्रक पकड़ा गया महाराष्ट्र में, तो आप भी परेशान होते हैं यार जमा कराओ या फिर देख लेंगे. आई डू
तो मेरा एक क्लाइंट की गाड़ी पकड़ी गई, दैट वाज ऑन अ बॉर्डर ऑफ यूपी एंड बिहार, सम 50 किलोमीटर फ्रॉम बनारस, और मतलब इन प्रेशर टाइम्स देयर इज नो अदर चॉइस कि पैसा जमा कराओ और छुड़वाओ.
देखिए बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, कई बार तो पेरिशेबल आइटम्स हैं, कई बार वो टाइम सेंसिटिव गुड्स हैं, अगर वो टाइम पे नहीं पहुंची तो उनकी वैल्यू खत्म हो जाती है. तीसरा, कई बार टाइम सेंसिटिव डिलीवरी इज देयर इज अ क्लॉज इन केस यू डोंट डिलीवर द गुड्स. सो ऑल दिस थिंग्स आर देयर व्हिच आर बीइंग एक्सप्लॉइटेड. आई डू एग्री, बट देन देयर आर सर्टेन इश्यूज व्हिच आर प्रैक्टिकल इश्यूज, वी हैव टू फाइट इट देम प्रैक्टिकली, बट लीगली यस दिस रिलीफ इज देयर. आई डू एग्री. Any other question?
Sir, one question is there. Basically, in case of specified premises, basically the hotel industry, in that case, whether hotels are also having the possibility of going from 5 to 18% tax slab with self declaration.
Sir, they have to charge 18% only. There is no choice with them. If you are having a restaurant in a specified premises where the rate of rent is more than 7,500 per room, then 18% is the only option.
Sir, the premise is
You
not a
ask for it,
specified
you don't
premise.
ask for it. You ask for it, you don't ask for it, doesn't matter. From that day, you are liable to pay tax at 18% the day you have collected the tax more than 7,500.
Sir, I am asking basically for those hotels which are not the specified premises, whether they are having the
Then they have they have no option but to pay 5% only.
they have to pay 5% only. Basically, there is a provision of specified premise declaration for that.
Yes.
That is for restaurants only
that
or for the hotel room rent as well.
स्टैंड अलोन रेस्टोरेंट के लिए भी था, स्पेसिफाइड के लिए भी था, बट वो आया है शायद 2024 में, जहां तक मुझे ध्यान है।
यस सर,
ये प्रोविजन नहीं था, 2024 में ये प्रोविजन आया था, तो आप उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं है। If you want to do that, you can do it. But
sir, basically that has been changed for restaurants purposes in 2024. Now, whether that can be applied to room tariffs as well?
वो सिर्फ स्टैंड अलोन रेस्टोरेंट को शायद एक बेनिफिट दिया था, मुझे याद नहीं उसकी लैंग्वेज, बट यस दैट केम इन 2024, जैसे मैंने आपसे कहा है और आप भी कह रहे हैं कि वहीं से है चीज, तो वो देखना पड़ेगा, जहां उसको बेनिफिट मिला वही मिलेगा, बाकियों में नहीं मिलेगा।
Thank you, sir.
Any other question you want to ask or I should proceed now?
सर 2 हैंड रेज हैं, 1 मिनट। एक शुभ शंकर गर्ग, हाँ जी शुभ शंकर जी पूछिए, देन नरेश कुमार। हाँ जी शुभ शंकर जी।
Sir, my query is regarding credit notes issued against
दिवाकर
invoices.
जी, सॉरी। हाँ जी,
Hello.
हाँ जी।
हाँ जी सर, जो क्वेरी है दैट इज रिगार्डिंग क्रेडिट नोट्स। अगर कोई इनवॉइसिंग 22 सितंबर से पहले होगी है, बट उसके रिगार्डिंग गुड्स रिटर्न या कोई रेट डिफरेंस के क्रेडिट नोट्स इशू करने हैं हमको आफ्टर 22।
देखिए, डिपार्टमेंट तो पहले भी नहीं आपको आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी कम करने दे रहा था, झगड़ा तो पहले भी करता था, बट अब 34(2) क्योंकि एप्लीकेबल हो गया है, तो अब तो कोई चॉइस ही नहीं है आपके पास, जब तक आप वो नहीं करेंगे। पहले वाले में आप लड़ सकते हैं, जैसे पहले लड़ रहे थे, यू कैन नॉट।
आई एम आस्किंग अबाउट द रेट ऑफ टैक्स की जो ओरिजिनल इनवॉइस पे जो रेट ऑफ टैक्स लगा था उसी रेट पे।
जो 22 सितंबर में लगा था क्रेडिट नोट, वही लगेगा।
राइट सर, थैंक यू
सर।
जी
गुड इवनिंग सर।
गुड इवनिंग।
फोन बंद कर भाई। ओ हेलो
सर, जो जैसे सैलून जिम के ऊपर रेट रिड्यूस कर दिया गवर्नमेंट ने, 5% विदाउट आईटीसी कर दिया है, तो जो 21 सितंबर तक का अपना इनपुट है सर, वो यूज हो जाएगा सर फॉर पेमेंट पर्पस?
डालना पड़ेगा, कहाँ यूज होगा?
हाँ जी।
देखिए, दो चीजें हैं, अगर सैलून सिर्फ ये सर्विसेज दे रहा है तो
हाँ
5%
जी।
विदाउट आईटीसी, बट सम ऑफ द
यस सर।
selling these product also. For example, I may be selling product like cream, shaver or something like that. So अगर वो आपका क्रेडिट यूज हो सकता है तो आप यूज कर सकते हैं, बट अदरवाइज अगर आप सिर्फ सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं तो कोई चॉइस नहीं है, देन यू हैव टू राइट इट ऑफ इन योर प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस एंड एडजस्ट योर इनकम टैक्स लायबिलिटी। जो मैं ऑटोमोबाइल डीलर्स को भी कह रहा हूँ, बोला सर 4 करोड़ रुपए का क्रेडिट है, मैं कोई बात नहीं, इनकम टैक्स की लायबिलिटी तो बचा लो, 4 करोड़ को इसको तो प्रॉफिट में डाल दो, खर्चे में डाल दो।
सर, जो 49(4) सेक्शन है सीजीएसटी एक्ट, जहाँ पे टैक्स की बात की गई है, भी आप उसमें एडजस्ट कर सकते हो सर। उसमें मतलब ये चीज तो मेंशन, जो मैंने नोटिफिकेशन पढ़ी थी उसमें ये चीज क्लियरली मेंशन नहीं है सर, उसमें डाउट आ रहा है सर।
कोई डाउट नहीं है ना, क्योंकि
नहीं,
उन्होंने सिर्फ चेंज क्या किया है, चेंज सिर्फ सर्विसेज के रेट का किया है। इफ आई एम हैविंग सेगमेंट, मेरी ये दुकान भी है जहां मैं हेयर ब्यूटी पार्लर वगैरह सर्विसेज देता हूँ, देन आई हैड स्टोर विद द सेम नंबर वेयर आई कैन प्रोडक्ट। तो क्रेडिट तो यूनिट का होता है ना, पैन का होता है, एंड इट गेट, उसमें क्लैरिटी हो जाना, आपको क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा। यू नो फ्रीक्वेंटली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन में बड़ा क्लियरली कहा है, 3 या 4 फ्रीक्वेंटली आस्क्ड क्वेश्चन आए हैं, अगर आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपको वहां आंसर मिल जाएगा।
तो मैंने वो रीड किए थे FAQ, वहां पे मुझे कंफ्यूजन ही हो गई सर, वो तो क्लियर नहीं हुआ कुछ,
नहीं, मैं बता
मतलब
रहा
हाँ।
हूँ, मैं बता रहा हूँ, मिल जाएगा, कंफ्यूज मत होइए।
ठीक ठीक है सर, ओके, थैंक यू।
एनी अदर
सर
क्वेश्चन?
और कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है सर, हम आगे चल सकते हैं सर।
चलिए सर, नाउ विल कम टू नेक्स्ट part of our deliberation, that is changes made in the CGST rules. पहली amendment है Rule 31A में, which deals with the value in case of lottery, betting, gambling and horse racing etc. वहां पहले 28% रेट था विद सेस, अब 28% हट गया, तो जो उन्होंने 100/28 लिखा था, बिकॉज नॉर्मली दे चार्ज कंसोलिडेटेड अमाउंट इंक्लूसिव ऑफ टैक्स, उनको उन्होंने 100/40 कर दिया, which is a consequential amendment, doesn't make much change. So this is required because the change in rate of tax, so they have amended the rule because the rate was mentioned in the rule itself. Then there is amendment in Rule 39(1)(a), which deal with the procedure for distribution of ITC. This is very important. पहले मैं ITC को distribute कर सकता था when I pay under the reverse charge under section 9(3) or 9(4). Now they have added the word subsection 3, subsection 4 of section 5 also in this rule, meaning thereby if I am paying a RCM liability under IGST also, even then that credit can be distributed. It is much awaited relief which the industry was demanding, and they have provided it. Then another important amendment is in Rule 91. ये बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है। यहां इन्होंने कह दिया कि आपको 90% रिफंड मिल जाएगा बेस्ड ऑन रिस्क फैक्टर, और इन्होंने एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाल दी 14/2025, जहां ये भी लिख दिया कि इन पर्टिकुलर आइटम्स के ऊपर आपको ये 90% रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा, जिसमें सिगरेट वगैरह है, रिस्की आइटम्स है। अब प्रॉब्लम ये है कि इफ यू लुक एट रूल सेक्शन 54(6), which provide for provisional refund of 90%, that is only in the case of zero rated supply. That section is not being amended, and that cannot be amended unless otherwise you make amendment in the finance bill, through finance bill. So the question is whether in the case of inverted duty structure, as Mr. Gaurav Dhawan was also saying, now we will give you refund of 90%. In the absence of any statutory mandate, can you implement that circular and it is applicable to the inverted duty structure? He himself has admitted that in certain cases, the output tax rate has been reduced, but there is no reduction in input cost because there are common input and these inputs are being used in the industries where they are liable to be taxed at a higher rate. So they could not reduce the tax on that. So if they could not do it, and now section 54(6) is not there, but then they say 90%. I don't know. I'm sure we have to look at the practical aspect of it. If the department is willing to give us and apply these provisions on the inverted duty structure also, there is no statutory mandate. I am once again saying. If you look at the existing 54(6), that only talk about refund for zero rated supply. मैंने आज इसको 2 बार और पढ़ा. Now before I speak, I must read it. So once I gone through it, वो नहीं है basis, but at the same time, the department is cooperating and giving you the refund. It is welcome here, and of course, legally you will claim the refund only when you justify that there is no unjust enrichment, etc., and you are entitled for the refund. It will be interesting to see how the department react to this. And must read notification number 14/2025, Central Tax dated 17 September 2025, wherein it has been clearly stated that this provisional refunds will not apply to the following items. So in case your client is dealing with those items, don't ever think of filing and claiming the provisional refund on those items. Then friend, the next change in section 100 and rule 110. This deals with the filing of bill. Before it was implemented, is being amended. As per the original system, I was supposed to file my appeal in APL 05, and the provisional acknowledgement was to be given on that form itself. And once there is objection raised by the registry and those defects are been removed, then the final acknowledgement was to be given in APL 02. Now they have changed it before it is being implemented. They have introduced a new form APL 02A, and it consists of two parts, Part A and Part B. This form prescribes that in case you are filing your appeal in APL 01, then the provisional acknowledgement will be given in Part A of Form 02A. And once you remove the defects, etc., then the final acknowledgement will be given Rule 2A Part B. So that's a major change, and this rule has been amended before it is being affected. And similarly, they have made amendment in Rule 111 also. And very interestingly, कमल जी बैठे हैं, तो मैं ये बता दूं कि सेस्टेट में भी 1 अक्टूबर 2025 को एक ऑफिस ऑर्डर निकाल दिया गया, जहां ये कहा गया कि अब सेस्टेट में भी, यानी कस्टम एक्साइज सर्विसेज अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल में भी सारी अपीलें ऑनलाइन फाइल होंगी. एंड देन देयर इज अनदर अमेंडमेंट 110. पहले एक प्रोविजन था कि अगर रजिस्ट्रार चाहे तो ही कैन परमिट यू टू फाइलिंग द अपील इन फिजिकल फॉर्म. नाउ that power has been taken away from the registrar, and they have very clearly stated that appeals can be filed only through electronic mode. अब आप ये समझ लें कि फिजिकल अपील फाइल करने का कोई चांस नहीं है. We chartered accountant need to be more technical savvy, and we have to look at it कि हम technical savvy हो जाएं और अपील सब कुछ देखें. और उसको मैं तो रोज कुछ ना कुछ सीख रहा हूँ. अभी जब मैं कल मौका के लिए लेक्चर बनाने लगा, मैं कहा कौन नोट्स बनाएगा इतने लंबे चौड़े. तो मैंने क्या किया, अपने आईपैड पे नोट्स में जाके अपना बोलना शुरू किया. वो जब हो गया तो उसको वर्ड फाइल में ले गया और वहां एडिट कर दिया. तो दिस इज हाउ वी हैव टू लर्न एवरी डे. और जैसे जिंदल साहब कहते हैं, मैं तो मेरे पास आता है तो मैं तो मेटा पे जाके लैंग्वेज रिफाइन करके भेज देता हूँ. तो वो सारी चीजें हैं. अब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का जमाना भी आ रहा है, ये सब टेक्निक्स भी देखनी पड़ेंगी, हाउ टू यूज दीज सिस्टम्स एंड ऑल दैट. तो अब ये सिर्फ इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली फाइल हो सकती है. फिजिकल की जो रजिस्ट्रार को पावर थी वो भी खत्म. अब एक बड़ा नया इंटरेस्टिंग रूल इंसर्ट किया गया है. ये जो लोग ट्रिब्यूनल प्रैक्टिस करते हैं उनके लिए बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग होगा. 110 कैपिटल ए. इस रूल में क्या कहा उन्होंने कि हाउ टू ट्रांसफर द फाइल्स टू द सिंगल मेंबर बेंच. उन्होंने कहा कि प्रेसिडेंट या वाइस प्रेसिडेंट एज द केस मे बी कैन ट्रांसफर द अपील टू द सिंगल मेंबर बेंच ओनली व्हेन इट डज नॉट इन्वॉल्व एनी क्वेश्चन ऑफ लॉ. क्वेश्चन ऑफ लॉ अगर नहीं है तो आप सिंगल मेंबर बेंच को दे सकते हैं. तो फिर सब रूल 2 क्या कहता है, अगर सिंगल मेंबर बेंच ड्यूरिंग द हियरिंग ऑफ दैट अपील is of the view that question of law is involved, he can send the file back to the president or vice president as the case may be. तीसरा वो ये कहते हैं कि जब वो फाइल उनका वापस आएगी तो then they will decide if law question तो डीबी में जाएगा मैटर. और अगर किसी केस में किसी पीरियड में उसका मैटर डीबी में सुना है और आज उसकी एक डिमांड निकला है विच इज लेस देन 50 लाख, तो वो मैटर सिंगल मेंबर बेंच को ट्रांसफर नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि पहले डीबी ने ऑर्डर पास किया हुआ है तो वो डीबी में ही केस जाएगा. सब रूल 4 बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, क्योंकि सिंगल मेंबर बेंच की लिमिट रखी गई है 50 लाख रुपए. और ये सबको पता है कि जितने ऑर्डर इन ओरिजिनल होते हैं उतनी अपील जाती है. तो मान लीजिए 3 शो कॉज नोटिस का एक कॉमन ऑर्डर इन ओरिजिनल आया, एक ही अपील जाएगी. तो जब ऑर्डर इन ओरिजिनल में टैक्स, इंटरेस्ट, पेनल्टी सब मिला के देखा जाएगा, इफ इट इज मोर देन 50 लाख देन इट कैन नॉट बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू single member. So the clarity has come how to calculate the time limit, how to calculate the monetary limit for deciding whether this matter belongs to a single bench or it belongs to a DB. एक अमेंडमेंट आए सेक्शन 113 में. ये बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग अमेंडमेंट है. पहले तो ये कहा कि अगर कमिश्नर अपील कोई ऑर्डर पास करता है तो वो ऑर्डर पास करने के साथ है कि APL 4 में स्टेटमेंट इशू करेगा जिसमें जितनी फाइनल डिमांड बनती है वो उसको लिखेगा, फाइनल डिमांड ऑफ टैक्स, इंटरेस्ट, पेनल्टी एक्सेट्रा। बट ये ट्रिब्यूनल के लिए नहीं था, तो अब उन्होंने कह दिया ट्रिब्यूनल भी जब कोई ऑर्डर पास करेगा तो आइदर ट्रिब्यूनल हिमसेल्फ और कॉज टू बी इशूड, नया फॉर्म निकाल दिया APL 04A और कह दिया APL 04A के हिसाब से आपने जितनी फाइनल डिमांड निकालनी है वो आप करेंगे। ये हम सबको पता है कि फॉर्म 9 और 9C में भी चेंजेस आई हैं बहुत सारी। अब मैं तो 9C भरता नहीं हूं, बट यस देयर आर नंबर ऑफ चेंजेस व्हिच हैज बीन इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द फॉर्म 9 एंड 9C। तो वो आप देख लीजिएगा, अगर कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो हम उसको डिस्कस कर लेंगे कभी। एक एग्जम्पशन मिलती थी, 2 करोड़ से नीचे वाले को फॉर्म 9 नहीं भरना पड़ता था। एवरी टाइम दे हैव टू इश्यू नोटिफिकेशन। नाउ दे हैव इश्यूड अ नोटिफिकेशन 15/2025 में फाइनली कह दिया कि अब ईयर टू ईयर नोटिफिकेशन इशू करने की जरूरत नहीं है, आपको 24-25 के बाद फॉर्म 9 नहीं भरना है, परमानेंटली हो गया ये। और जिनका 2 करोड़ से ऊपर है दे विल सबमिट फॉर्म 9, और जिनका 5 करोड़ से ऊपर एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर है दे विल फाइल 9C ऑल्सो। तो ये ज्यादा बड़ी चीज नहीं है, पहले भी थी, अब तो उन्होंने सिर्फ एक मैकेनिज्म दे दिया। अब GST ट्रिब्यूनल इज ऑपरेशनलाइज्ड, लेकिन उन्होंने ये कहा कि जो पेंडिंग अपील्स है उसको ध्यान से थोड़ा सुनिएगा, बिकॉज ये प्रोविजन अभी एप्लीकेबल है और आप लोगों को अपील फाइल करनी है और पोर्टल भी ऑपरेशनलाइज हो गया है, तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड। अपील फाइल होती है अंडर सेक्शन 107 जब कमिश्नर अपील का ऑर्डर आता है। किसने फाइल करनी है? अगर एसएससी ने करनी है तो APL 01, डिपार्टमेंट ने करनी है तो APL 03। एक सेक्शन है 108 रिवीजन का, उसकी अपील भी जाती है टू द ट्रिब्यूनल। तो अगर ये तीनों केसेस की डेट ऑफ फाइलिंग, नॉट द ऑर्डर, अगेन आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग लिसन टू मी वेरी केयरफुली। अगर APL 01, 03 या RBN 01 की डेट फाइलिंग की 31 जनवरी 2022 से पहले है तो उनके लिए पोर्टल खुला है 24 सितंबर से लेकर 31 अक्टूबर तक। और जिनकी ये डेट 1 फरवरी 22 से 28 फरवरी तक है उनका नवंबर से 30 नवंबर, यानी नवंबर का महीना पूरा, मार्च से जनवरी 24 दिसंबर। ये मैं चार्ट जो मेरे पास बना हुआ है ये मैं भेज दूंगा अश्विनी जी को, अश्विनी जी कैन सर्कुलेट इन द ग्रुप, तो मुझे पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट स्टैगर्ड कर दिया है। बट इन सब केसेस में अगर आप ये मिस कर गए तो घबराने की बात नहीं है। अल्टीमेट डेट इज 30 जून 2026। तो आप वहां पे अगर इस महीने में नहीं भी कर पाए स्टैगर्ड में और बाद में उसने नहीं करने दी, डजंट मैटर, अप्रैल के बाद जब जनता दरबार खुलेगा तो भी आप जून 26 से पहले पहले ये सब फाइल कर सकते हैं। ओनली प्रॉब्लम है जहां आपने टैक्स नहीं जमा कराया तो वहां रिकवरी प्रोसीजर शुरू हो सकता है, क्योंकि हाई कोर्ट्स ने भी कई बार फैसले दिए हैं कि भैया आप प्री डिपॉजिट जमा करा दो तो रेस्ट ऑफ द डिमांड इज बीइंग स्टेड। तो ये इश्यू है। अब हम आते हैं लास्ट लेग ऑफ माय डिस्कशन, which is changes which are suggested but they have not been implemented। ये सबसे ज्यादा खतरनाक है, क्योंकि आप पढ़ तो लेते हो, न्यूज भी सुन लेते हो, मीडिया भी सुन लेते हो कि चेंजेस आ गई, बट वो चेंजेस होती नहीं है, तो उससे आप गलत गाइडेंस अपने क्लाइंट को ना दें। पहली चेंज है रेस्टोरिंग बेनिफिट ऑफ इंटरमीडिएरी सर्विसेज। उस दिन अश्विनी जी ने भी कहा सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट आ गई, डेलिब्रेशन भी करवा दी एजुकेशनल वालों पे, और मैंने ये कहा इंटरमीडिएट सर्विसेज में अब इन्होंने कह दिया कि दे आर गोइंग टू बी रिसिपिएंट बेस्ड, तो वैसे ही झगड़ा खत्म हो जाना है। पर ये झगड़ा आज नहीं खत्म हुआ है, क्योंकि इंटरमीडिएट की सर्विस में आपको सेक्शन 13 अमेंड करना है, वो सेक्शन 13 अभी अमेंड नहीं हुआ है। तो एज ऑन टुडे इंटरमीडिएट की सर्विस सप्लायर का ही प्लेस है, यू आर लायबल टू पे द टैक्स वंस दीज अमेंडमेंट्स आर बीइंग कैरिड आउट इन द फाइनेंस एक्ट, finance bill, then that becomes an act and notification is being issued। हाँ, इसमें पॉसिबिलिटी है कि इसमें थोड़ा सा जल्दी काम हो जाए, क्योंकि इसमें सिर्फ IGST एक्ट अमेंड होना है जो सेंटर ने करना है। इसमें स्टेट की एक्ट की SGST एक्ट की अमेंडमेंट की कोई रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है जो बाकी में है, इसमें नहीं है। तो हो सकता है जल्दी इंप्लीमेंट कर दे, पर अभी आज एज ऑन टूडे इट इज ओनली प्लेस ऑफ सप्लायर। सो काइंडली माइंडेड, simply because of the press release, etc. Don't guide your client that this amendment has been made effective, then you will be अपने पैरों पे कुल्हाड़ी मारने वाला काम करेंगे. ये अभी नहीं हुई है, मैं फिर रिपीट कर रहा हूं. Section is not being amended. So as on today, it is a supplier business only. No notification has been issued. And as you know, every press release contains, these are only for the information. You must read relevant notifications and statutory provision to claim your benefits. तो वो थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखें. दूसरा, सर्कुलर नंबर 251 जो मैं लास्ट में डील करूंगा पोस्ट सेल डिस्काउंट के लिए, उन्होंने इश्यू तो कर दिया, पर अगर आप देखें तो जो डीलिंग करने की बात कर रहे हैं कि योर सप्लाई दैट डिस्काउंट मस्ट बी एग्रीड अपॉन बिफोर द सप्लाई इज बीइंग मेड, दैट इज बीइंग स्टेटेड इन द प्रेस रिलीज, बट एज ऑन टुडे 15(3) डज नॉट से सो. एज ऑन डेट this discount must be agreed upon between the supplier and recipient before any supply is being made. 15(3) में कोई अमेंडमेंट नहीं हुई है, तो प्रेस रिलीज के भरोसे पे आप ये मत समझिए कि इसको डीलिंक कर दिया गया है. तीसरा, जो पोस्ट सेल डिस्काउंट में सेक्शन 34 की अमेंडमेंट है वो आ चुकी है, IMS आ चुका है, तो ये तो कंफर्म हो गया कि अब आपको क्रेडिट तभी आपका रिड्यूस होगा जब आप वो करेंगे. अब मैं आता हूं लास्ट सर्कुलर पे, एंड देन आई विल कंक्लूड माय डेलिब्रेशन and I'll ask you if there are any question, answer, etc. And then if anybody else wants to add, they are most welcome. Circular number 251 deals with 3 issues. पहला issue where commercial credit notes are being issued. देखिए दोनों में difference है. Credit note under section 34 is being issued when you want to reduce your tax liability, and that tax liability will get reduced only when the ITC is being reversed by the recipient. But मैं कई बार कह चुका हूं, शायद वोका के फॉर्म पे भी कह चुका हूं, कि आप ऐसा करते क्यों हैं? आप क्रेडिट नोट कमर्शियल क्यों नहीं इशू करते? फॉर एग्जांपल, आपने 100 रुपए का माल बेचा, 18 रुपए टैक्स था, उसने 100 रुपए का माल खरीदा, 18 रुपए का क्रेडिट ले लिया. अब आप 10 रुपए का उसको क्रेडिट नोट देना चाहते हैं, 1 रुपए 80 पैसे आप अपने टैक्स लायबिलिटी रिड्यूस करना चाहते हैं, उसको 10 रुपए का क्रेडिट मिलेगा और 1 रुपए 80 पैसे वो क्रेडिट अपना ITC रिवर्स करेगा. इन ए वे यू आर गिविंग इन ए बेनिफिट ऑफ 8 रुपीज 80 पैसा. तो व्हाई डोंट यू इशू द क्रेडिट नोट of 8 rupees 80 paisa, which is commercial, where 34 is not at all applicable? If that being so, I am not supposed to report it in GSTR 1. No time limit is applicable. No 34(2) is applicable. तो मेरा ये कहना था, इन्होंने पहले सर्कुलर 92 भी इशू किया था टू क्लैरिफाई दैट इन द केस ऑफ कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट देयर कैन नॉट बी रिवर्सल. और आज कमिश्नर साहब ने भी कहा कि हमने 15 करोड़ के वो केसेस छोड़ दिए जहां कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट इशू किए थे, क्योंकि वहां हमें रिवर्सल चाहिए ही नहीं है, ना कि उसने अपनी आउटपुट टैक्स लायबिलिटी कम की है. तो एक तो इस बात को समझ लें कि 34 को अप्लाई करने के साथ साथ यू हैड गॉट एन ऑप्शन वेयर यू कैन issue the commercial credit note giving the same amount which you want to give benefit to the recipient. आप उसी अमाउंट का कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट भी इशू कर सकते हैं, राइट? दिस इज वन पार्ट ऑफ इट. सेकेंडली, उन्होंने ये कहा कि अगर सप्लायर ने, मैन्युफैक्चरर ने रिसिपिएंट को कोई एश्योरेंस दी कि आई विल गिव यू दिस प्राइस आफ्टर दिस डिस्काउंट, मैंने आपको पहले माल बेचा था 18,000 रुपए का, बिकॉज ऑफ कंपटीशन और न्यू मॉडल हैज कम, नाउ यू गेट अ बेनिफिट ऑफ 2,000 रुपीज, बट दिस बेनिफिट इज रूटेड थ्रू द सप्लायर. तो अगर आपने सप्लायर के थ्रू उसको रूट किया है तो जो सप्लायर को कंसिडरेशन मिलेगी, बिकॉज ही इज प्रोवाइडिंग अ सर्विस, ही इज गिविंग द डिस्काउंट, claiming from the manufacturer and passing on to the retailer to whom the company has agreed to reduce the price, then that amount will become subject to GST. उस डिस्काउंट पे आपको रिबेट नहीं मिलेगा. तीसरी उन्होंने सिचुएशन ये एनालाइज की, इफ यू आर doing certain marketing activities or you undertake additional activities in addition to what you are doing as a distributor or a wholesaler, and you are getting a consideration for carrying out that activity, that surely get covered under the definition of supply. No doubt about that. If that being so, then that amount is subject to GST. So this circular 251 is very clear now and categorically stated that these are the three situations. Or commercial credit note में there is no requirement of the reversal, and number of cases are going on so far as commercial credit note is concerned. तो मेरा ये कहना है कि this circular will go a long way, but kindly appreciate 54(6) is not being a mandate. Provisional refund का नहीं मिलेगा. 15(3) is not being a mandate. You cannot de-link that the discount, post-sale discount is not being agreed upon prior to the making of supply. हाँ, retrospective date में जब फाइनेंस बिल में कर देंगे तो हो सकता है इसका बेनिफिट आपको एक्सटेंड कर दें. But as on today, 15(3) be as it is stand कर रहा. With these remarks, I would like to conclude, and then over to Ashwini Jindal ji.
सर एक हैंड रेज है, ये भी अंचल कपूर जी हैं.
अरे वाह,
ये स्पीकर वाले नहीं, दूसरे अंचल कपूर जी हैं.
अच्छा
सर जितनी देर मेंबर्स
हाँ
क्वेरी
जी,
पोस्ट
अंचल जी
करते
पूछिए
हैं,
क्वेश्चन.
सर जितनी देर मेंबर्स क्वेरी पोस्ट करते हैं, क्या आयुष जी अपने क्लोजिंग रिमार्क्स दे सकते हैं 2-4
नहीं,
मिनट
ये
में?
लास्ट में 1 मिनट कर देना पहले मेंबरों का. बत्रा जी ने ना जाना हो 1 मिनट.
ठीक है
अंचल
सर.
जी, आपका हैंड रेज था अंचल कपूर जी. देन अंकुर कुमार जी.
हाँ, गुड इवनिंग
अंचल,
सर.
हाँ जी.
सर मेरे केस में ना कमिश्नर अपील के पास चला है, कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट है, वो कहते हैं उस पर जीएसटी रिवर्सल करें आप, जबकि वो कंपनी से कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट है, कोई मेरे 2A में नहीं आ रहा है. वो कहते नहीं, मैं नहीं मानूंगा, आपको जीएसटी रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा. 1 करोड़ रुपए का अमाउंट है.
आप कब अपीयर हुए उस कमिश्नर के पास?
सॉरी,
आप उस कमिश्नर के पास कब अपीयर हुए थे?
15 दिन पहले से.
तो ये सर्कुलर तो 15 दिन पहले नहीं था.
हाँ नहीं, लो में तो पहले भी था सर, सर्कुलर नहीं था, लेकिन लो में तो था
लॉ
ही.
में नहीं था, लॉ को तो वो सुनते नहीं थे ना. अब सर्कुलर है, बाइंडिंग ऑन देम, और उन्होंने बड़ा क्लियर कट लैंग्वेज यूज की हुई है, कोई डिस्प्यूट नहीं है. नाउ यू कैन गो एंड अगेन आर्ग्यू योर मैटर. अगर मान लीजिए उसने फाइनल हियरिंग कर दी है, कंक्लूड, और आपके पास अभी ऑर्डर नहीं आया है, तो यू कैन इमीडिएटली राइट अ लेटर टू हिम after the PH hearing on such and such date. This circular has been issued by the CBIC, and in this circular, para number 1 very clearly covered my case, which is under dispute, and reproduce this circular so and so. Looking to the fact of this circular, these are binding on the department, and then you can quote number of judgments which Supreme Court says the circulars which have been relevant circulars are binding on the department, is binding upon you. And in case you fail to understand, fail to follow the circular, it will be a contempt. बस इतनी लाइन लेके उसको भेज दो.
ठीक है, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू.
थैंक यू जी. मेरे ख्याल में दूसरा अंचल जी का क्वेश्चन नहीं है, तो आयुष अपने नेहा.
हाँ सर, thank you. Thank you, Ayush, for joining us. He's a very young Voice of CM member whose area of expertise is also IDT litigation advisory and audit, and due diligence of GST and compliance review as well. He now has over 10 years of experience in the field and has done stints under the guidance of Batra sir, and as well as at LKS. He would be taking up the intermediary service sector. Oh, sorry. No. That was earlier. He took the intermediary service sector with us in the earlier lecture, not today. So Ayush, would you like to give some feedback from your side today?
Surely. Thank you so much, Neha. First of all, thank you and the entire VOCA team. And Batra sir has always been my mentor. Whatever I have, whatever I've learned is from him. So he has already, deliberated in detail all the next gen GST reforms, whether it is related to change in rate of tax, or whether it is related to change in provisions, or whether it is tribunal rules which have been notified. Just few points that I would like to make, or I would just say that I just sum up what the Batra sir has already spoken, is that we need to take care that not only the goods or the services rate have been changed. Many provisions of the Finance Act have been notified, which, as Batra sir rightly pointed out, no one is talking about. Because whenever the Finance Act 2025 introduced those provisions were not notified. So we need to take care that those provisions are now notified from 1st October 2025. Secondly, the most important point that again, Batra sir made, but I would again like to make emphasis upon is, everyone is saying that now the intermediary services are under Rule 13, Section 13(2), and now we do not need to pay tax on it. We need to understand that this is a change in the section, and section requires, and all the changes in the sections come through Finance Act. So we need to wait to make the to make this amendment get effective maybe in the next Finance Act or whenever, but this section is not yet effective, and therefore the intermediary provisions are still as such as they were before. That is, the place of supply will still be governed by Section 13, subsection 8 of the IGST Act. Then we need to understand that in case of change in rate of goods, the entire notification has been substituted, whereas in case of change in rate of services, the notification has been amended. There is no substitution of the notification. That clarification was also issued through a press release by the government, that new notification 9/2025 has been issued in case of goods, but the old notification in case of rate of services, that is 11/2017, is still in place, and that has only been amended. There is a lot of questions about what should be done of cess. I was of the view that this should be expensed off, but obviously Batasa gave a different view, that since the act has been repealed, and so that section should itself not apply, and therefore it should not be expensed off. What can be done? I mean, we can only wait for the clarification from the government side. So whether we have to reverse the cess already lying in our e-credit ledger or not, time will tell. Then again, an important change related to pre-deposit of penalty. That now, earlier we all know in service tax or in an earlier regime, there was a pre-deposit of penalty as well, in case the demand only pertains to penalty. But in case in the GST, the pre-deposit was only of the tax amount, and wherein the demand was only of penalty, there was no pre-deposit. So now that has been plugged, and we have to pay the pre-deposit in case of penalty as well. So I think this already sums up the entire session of the Batra and the few points that I would like to make. I hand it over to you, Neha.
थैंक यू आयुष जी। आज हमारे साथ वो साहिल गुप्ता जी भी एडेड हैं, ये भी हमारे जीएसटी एक्सपर्ट हैं। वेलकम जी साहिल जी। और कमल जी, आज हमारा जीएसटी एक्सपर्ट, काफी जीएसटी एक्सपर्ट हमारे साथ, कमल अग्रवाल जी एंड देन साहिल गुप्ता जी। थैंक यू बत्रा सर कि जैसे ही हमारा वो प्रोग्राम खत्म हुआ 30/9 का, तो आपने इमीडिएटली हमारी रिक्वेस्ट एक्सेप्ट की और हमारे मेंबर्स को डेलीवरेट किया कि जो नेक्स्ट जेन रजीम है 2.0, जैसे मैं स्टार्ट में कह रहा था, हालांकि पब्लिक भी खुश है, मोस्ट ऑफ द more than 90% public is happy, and central GST is also happy because it is a big reform. But state GST, especially in Punjab, they are not so happy, because today when I met there and we had a interaction on VAT, OTS, informally I heard that there is about 500 crore loss per month to the state due to these changes and reduction in rates, which may come to 5,000 to 6,000 crore to the Punjab state, and the total collection of the Punjab is roughly near about to 30,000 crore. So it will be about 20%, which they are expecting. But if the consumption rises, तो we hope कि पंजाब का इफेक्ट ना पड़े, वो हमारी स्टेट को भी इफेक्ट पड़ेगा और बिजनेसमैन को भी मतलब उसकी आर्म ट्विस्टिंग भी होगी, तो इट विल बी बेटर कि कंजम्पशन बढ़ जाए और उनका टारगेट इफेक्ट ना हो। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर एनलाइटनिंग द मेंबर्स। तो बत्रा सर, तो आपकी बुक आ गई है। मैं सभी को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि बत्रा सर ने स्पेसिफाइड बुक जो मेरे पास तो पहुंच गई है, जिसमें आप नेक्स्ट जेन रिफॉर्म्स, जितने भी जीएसटी रेट्स, टैरिफ, नोटिफिकेशन, सब मतलब बत्रा जी ने इसके ऊपर पूरी डिटेल्ड बुक दे दी है, तो आप काइंडली इसको भी रेफर कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू वेरी मच। कमल अग्रवाल जी को मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आज वो भी 2 शब्द लास्ट में वोट ऑफ थैंक्स में, तो जरा ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट एसोसिएशन एंड वोका कहें। कमल जी सर।
सर, बत्रा जी के डेलिब्रेशन के बाद देयर इज नो स्कोप फॉर मी टू से एनीथिंग। बत्रा सर ने सारी चीजें बड़ी अच्छे से क्लैरिफाई कर दी, और पर्टिकुलरली फॉर यंग जनरेशन। और एक बड़ा अच्छा लगता है हमें बत्रा जी का कि वो जो ट्राइब्यूनल में आर्गू करते हैं वो अपने लेक्चर्स में नहीं करते हैं, तो यहाँ पर लेक्चर में बड़ी सिंपल भाषा में चीजें समझाते हैं जो हमारी यंग जनरेशन को समझ आती है। अगर मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल दूं, तो हम बात करें कि ही कैन आर्गू कि 15(3) जो है वो सब्सटेंटिव प्रोविजन है, सेक्शन 34 जो मशीनरी प्रोविजन है, और 15(3) विल ओवरराइड सेक्शन 34। मेरे ऐसे बंदे को पल्ले नहीं पड़ेगा सर, क्या कह रहे हैं। तो सर बड़े प्यार से आराम से सिंपल सिंपल भाषा में चीज समझाते हैं, तो वो समझ भी आती है, प्रैक्टिकल इंप्लीमेंट भी करने की वो होती है। और जब से जीएसटी आया है, और ये पुरानी वैट के टाइम की, मैंने कभी अपने क्लाइंट को एडवाइज नहीं किया कि जीएसटी क्रेडिट नोट इशू करा जाए। कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट एक बेस्ट इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, और कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट आपका जीरो सम गेम है, क्योंकि आपको क्रेडिट रिवर्स नहीं करना, आपके कस्टमर को क्रेडिट रिवर्स नहीं करना। और डिपार्टमेंट लिटिगेशन करता है, डिपार्टमेंट तो किसी भी चीज पे लिटिगेशन कर सकता है। मैं नहीं समझता आज तक एलकेएस और बत्रा सर और गिरीश आहूजा जी, ये तीनों ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश, हमें कोई ऐसा फार्मूला दे पाए हैं जो कहे यार ये कर लो, लिटिगेशन नहीं होगी। तो लिटिगेशन तो होनी है, डिपार्टमेंट का अपना काम है, हमारा अपना काम है। तो वट एवर बेस्ट इज बेस्ट एंड सिंपल, एंड वट एवर वी बिलीव वी कैन डिफेंड, अपने को वो करना चाहिए। लिटिगेशन होगी तो लिटिगेशन होगी, वी विल डिफेंड दैट। अब ट्राइब्यूनल, जीएसटी ट्राइब्यूनल, कोई 4 लाख अपीलें कह रहा है, कोई कुछ अपीलें कह रहा है, अभी तो पता नहीं सर। अपील अभी मतलब अभी तक तो पहली अपील जीएसटी ट्राइब्यूनल में फाइल हुई हो किसी ने बोला नहीं है। आई ट्राइड फाइलिंग फ्यू अपील्स, जो अपीलें फाइल नहीं हो पा रही, और जो बत्रा सर ने उस पर ज्यादा टाइम नहीं दिया, क्योंकि टाइम था भी नहीं आज। जो नोट इशू करा है मिस्टर प्रेसिडेंट ने, उसमें भी वो डेट ऑफ इम्प्यून ऑर्डर की जगह डेट ऑफ ओरिजिनल फाइलिंग से जा रहे हैं, जिसका कुछ लॉजिक समझ नहीं आया। दैट विल अगेन क्रिएट कंफ्यूजन, बट वट एवर इट इज, एटलीस्ट फाइलिंग तो शुरू है। और अभी ये नहीं पता, ना मुझे ना बत्रा सर को शायद पता हो सकता है कि जीएसटी ट्राइब्यूनल में जाना क्या है। अभी तक तो दिल्ली में कोई प्लेस का पता नहीं है। मैं
नहीं,
और
मेरे ख्याल
बत्रा
में
सर
सर
आर
वो
के पुरम
शायद
मिलते रहते
कुमार
हैं।
गौरव दबन जी ने पहले बताया था एक बार, शायद मेरे ख्याल में इनिशियली फॉर 2-3 मंथ्स इट में भी ऑनलाइन ओनली।
नहीं, ऑनलाइन तो सर हमेशा रहेगा, बट
अच्छा।
ऑनलाइन इज नॉट मैंडेटरी। देखो ऑनलाइन से बड़ी सुविधा हो रही है, मैं आपको बताता हूँ। मैंने एक पर्टिकुलर डे पे मैंने गाजियाबाद में हियरिंग अटेंड की, वो फिजिकल की स्टेट में। उसके बाद मैंने एक पंचकुला में हियरिंग अटेंड की, और एक बेंगलोर में हियरिंग अटेंड की। तो 3 हियरिंग मैंने बड़े आराम से अटेंड की, आधा दिन मेरा गाजियाबाद लगा, उसके बाद दोनों अपीलें मैंने यहाँ बैठ के कर ली। तो वर्चुअल में बड़ा फायदा है, ऑनलाइन में बड़ा फायदा है, लेकिन कई जगह आपको फिजिकल भी जाना पड़ता है, कई जगह आपको मेंबर्स की बॉडी लैंग्वेज भी देखनी पड़ती है। वी ऑल लर्न दो स्किल्स। और मैं ट्राइब्यूनल जाता हूं तो बत्रा साहब के दर्शन हो जाते हैं, ऑनलाइन में तो फिर कहाँ होंगे। तो देर आर लॉट ऑफ प्रोफेशनल डिस्कशन दैट
दर्शन तो हो
हैपन इन द
जाते हैं,
बार
बस कोई
रूम।
टेक्निकल दिक्कत ना आए हमारे कमिश्नर साहब की तरह, फिर नहीं होते।
नहीं नहीं, तो वहां बत्रा साहब जब आर्गू करते हैं तो हम पीछे बैठे होते हैं, उनके आर्गूमेंट से बहुत चीजें सुनते हैं। अब मैं फॉलो कर रहा था जो बत्रा साहब ने उस दिन आर्गू किया, जब उसका जजमेंट आया मैंने वो जजमेंट निकाल के पढ़ा, तो उनसे भी हमें बड़ी चीजें क्लियर होती हैं कि किस तरह से आर्गू करना है, किस तरह से मेंबर्स को एड्रेस करना है। सारी चीजें ऑनलाइन हो जाएंगी तो फिर तो हम अपनी अपनी बात करेंगे। इतने सीनियर जो लॉयर्स हैं, सीनियर प्रोफेशनल्स हैं, उनसे कैसे सीखेंगे। या ट्राइब्यूनल इस तरह से हो जाए जैसे हाई कोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट है, कि आप लॉग इन कर लो, जो भी आर्गू करता है वो आप सुनते रहो, तो भी देखेंगे कैसी पोजीशन होती है, कैसी बैंडविड्थ आती है। लेकिन फिजिकल तो फिर भी चाहिए होगा सर। कभी कोई डिफेक्ट आ गया, रजिस्ट्री के पास जाके बात करनी है, कहीं कॉपी लेनी है, कभी कुछ और करना है, तो फिजिकल के बिना तो कैसे काम चलेगा। बट
हाँ,
एज ऑन डेट,
ये तो
हाँ
आज
जी,
भी हो सकता है। अगर आप ऑनलाइन अटेंड करना चाहते हैं और आपके अपील है, तो यू कैन लिसन टू अदर गाइस। आप पहले सुबह से लॉग इन कर दो, तो आपको
हाँ
सारे सुनाई देंगे।
हाँ, वो सर, पर मुझे मतलब जनरली उसी को मिलता है जिसकी उस दिन लिस्टिंग हो।
हाँ जी।
अगर मेरी कोई लिस्टिंग नहीं है, मैं हाई कोर्ट सुप्रीम कोर्ट में लिस्टिंग कर सकता हूं, मैं ऑनलाइन कर लूं, मेरा कुछ भी नहीं है तो मैं कर सकता हूं। लेकिन जैसे इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट में अगर मेरा केस लिस्टेड नहीं है तो मुझे लिंक नहीं मिलता। ऐसे यहाँ पर ट्राइब्यूनल में। और एक सर मैं पढ़ रहा था, भी मैंने बड़े ध्यान से नहीं पढ़ा उसको पूरा, मेरे ख्याल से सर पुरानी अपीलें जो सीस्टेट में फाइल हैं, उनको भी हमें दोबारा ऑनलाइन करना पड़ेगा सर।
हाँ जी,
तो वो
उनकी
बड़ा,
यही है। अभी नेक्स्ट वीक में हम बार वाले उनसे मिलने जा रहे हैं,
जी
and then we will see what is the final outcome.
हाँ, क्योंकि वो तो बड़ा मेहनत काम हो जाएगा सर, पुरानी बैकलॉग को करना तो।
सर मेरी हालत देखो ना, जिसकी 150 बिल पेंडिंग है।
चलो सर, फीस भी तो आपने लेनी है, हमने थोड़ी लेनी है।
ले ली, खा पी ली यार, वो तो खत्म हो गई, इसीलिए तो सर्विस का।
और दोबारा बिल रेज कर दो सर, उनको बोलो, भूल गए पुराने आए भी थे कि नहीं।
सर सेस्टेट ने एक वक्त में सारी ये स्कैन कराई थी, और सेस्टेट में सारी स्कैन कॉपी अवेलेबल है, तो उनसे कहे भाई स्कैन कॉपी हमें पेपर बुक की दे दो, वही हम फाइल कर देते हैं। दैट कैन बी वन ऑप्शन सर।
चलिए देखते हैं, बात करेंगे प्रेसिडेंट से, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली विल गेट द क्लैरिफिकेशन फ्रॉम द प्रेसिडेंट।
Anyway, many thanks जिंदल जी, यू आर डूइंग ए ग्रेट सर्विस टू द प्रोफेशन। और नेहा भी अपने फादर का नाम पूरी तरह से चमका रही है। ऑल थैंक्स टू दी वोका टीम एंड बत्रा सर टू गिविंग टाइम। एवरीबडी many thanks for joining and attending this session. Thank you.
थैंक यू कमल जी। नेहा, तू कुछ ऐड करना चाहती है?
थैंक यू
वैसे
सर।
इंक्लूड करें क्योंकि 2-3 मिनट पड़े हैं अभी।
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Batra sir, for so graciously giving a chance to कि younger members आपका knowledge समझ सकें एंड अकॉर्डिंगली मतलब अपनी प्रैक्टिस को थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ा सकें. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर इनसाइट्स सर, एंड थैंक यू फॉर गिविंग अ चांस टू आयुष टू sum up today, and a very big thank you to all the participants and panelists to attend today. आप लोग वॉइस ऑफ सीए के यूट्यूब चैनल पे ये वेबिनार दोबारा सुन सकते हैं. वी विल अपलोड इट ऑन मंडे, एंड अश्वनी सर ऑफ कोर्स लिंक्स भी शेयर कर देंगे ऑन ऑल द ग्रुप्स.
थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस. अभी नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम मैंने वो ट्रिब्यूनल का अनाउंस किया था, साहिल जी हमारे साथ बैठे हैं. तो साहिल जी, मैं आपको ऑफिशियली ही अनाउंस मतलब ड्यूटी दे देता हूं कि आप इस पे एक फ्रेमवर्क तैयार कीजिए. मैंने मॉक ट्रिब्यूनल पे प्रोग्राम करवाना है, बट इन नवंबर, क्योंकि अभी सभी 30/10 तक बिजी हैं और फेस्टिवल मंथ है. तो आप एक ट्रिब्यूनल तैयार कीजिए जिसमें वो कमिश्नर की, जहाँ डीटीसी की जो अपीलें हैं, जो ऑर्डर हैं, देन उसके बाद ट्रिब्यूनल में कैसे करना है, 3-4 केसेस कम से कम तैयार कीजिए. तो देन बत्रा जी के साथ और फैकल्टी के साथ हम वो मॉक ट्रिब्यूनल वाला ना 3-4 घंटे का सेशन एक रखेंगे कि कैसे आपने प्रोसीडिंग्स हैंडल करनी है इन द ट्राइब्यूनल.
डेफिनेटली
जी,
सर.
एक
तो
सेशन
उसको
में मैं और
आपने कोऑर्डिनेट करना है. हाँ जी, हाँ जी सर.
एक सेशन में मैं और बत्रा सर जजेस थे एक मॉक ट्राइब्यूनल में.
हाँ जी सर.
और उसमें जो हमारी एक्सपीरियंस था,
हाँ जी.
बत्रा सर वो साहिल को शेयर कर देंगे.
हाँ बिल्कुल
तो
सर, ये आपसे कोऑर्डिनेट कर लेगा. ही विल कोऑर्डिनेट
हाँ,
ऑल दी
तो जो
सेशन.
अपने पार्टिसिपेंट्स आए थे आर्गू करने के लिए,
हाँ जी.
वो किस तरह से तैयार करें, क्योंकि
हाँ जी.
जितनी अच्छी उनकी तैयारी होगी उसमें उतना ही फर्दर जो जजेस हैं वो ऐड कर पाएंगे.
ठीक है
तो
सर.
अगर उनकी तैयारी अच्छी होगी तो बहुत अच्छा और आपका सेशन होगा. क्योंकि
बिल्कुल
हमें
सर.
वहां पर लगा कि जब बत्रा सर ने क्वेश्चंस पूछने शुरू करे, जैसे
हाँ जी.
जजेस हमारे से पूछते हैं,
हाँ जी.
तो जो आर्गुइंग काउंसिल थे वो फैक्ट्स के बारे में ही क्लियर नहीं थे.
ठीक है सर.
और उसमें फिर बत्रा सर ने कहा कि भाई आप फैक्ट्स जो है क्लियर नहीं है, देन मैटर इज एडजॉर्न.
हाँ जी.
तो बट दैट वाज नॉट द ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि मेंबर्स को पता लगे कहां तक उन्होंने तैयारी करके आना है,
हाँ
ताकि
जी.
वो एक इफेक्टिव आर्गुमेंट कर सके और उनकी नॉलेज इफेक्टिवली नॉलेज आगे गेन हो सके.
नहीं बिल्कुल सर, उसमें हम ना कोई क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन ही रखेंगे, बाकी सब सिर्फ बात करेंगे. जो मेंबर हमारे वो प्ली करेंगे ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट एज वेल एज फ्रॉम द एसएससी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, उन्हीं को सिर्फ पैनल में रखेंगे, बाकियों को नहीं रखेंगे. उस दिन हम पैनलिस्ट लिंक भी नहीं भेजेंगे बाकियों को, सिर्फ उन्हीं को भेजेंगे पैनलिस्ट लिंक जो आर्गू करेंगे और जजेस को. तो उसमें ना वो साहिल को कोऑर्डिनेटर बना देंगे. तो वो मतलब कहते हैं ही विल वर्क लाइक रजिस्ट्री एज वेल एज कोऑर्डिनेटर. किसको क्या करना है.
डेफिनेटली
तो
सर, नो इश्यूज.
अकॉर्डिंगली ना जितने भी मेंबर हमारे मतलब ज्यादा इंटरेस्टेड होंगे तो प्रैक्टिस इन द ट्रिब्यूनल, तो उनको 5-7 को मतलब कहते हैं ज्वाइन करके एक एक केस में 2-2 3-3 को ज्वाइन करके कर देंगे, फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट व्यू, फ्रॉम द एसएससी व्यू. ऐसे कुछ पैनल बनाते हैं. साहिल जी बाकी आप फ्रेमवर्क फिट कर लो. नवंबर की डेट दे दी आपको, जो भी कन्वीनियंट डे होगा ना, तो नवंबर में हमने ये मॉक ट्रिब्यूनल करना है.
ठीक है सर. सर इसमें एक चीज और ऐड
और
करने
और
की.
और बत्रा जी को और कमल गर्ग जी को, कमल अग्रवाल जी को, दोनों को बना देना है मतलब जज. एक मतलब डबल बेंच करना है.
सर ये हम सबका सौभाग्य होगा कि हम लोगों को इतने मतलब एक्सपीरियंस पर्सन से सीखने को मिलेगा।
हाँ।
मतलब जो जज इनको कहते हैं डिटेल्स या इनके ऑर्डर्स को देख के हम लोग ऑर्डर्स बनाते हैं, तो उन चीजों के लिए डायरेक्टली हमें
बत्रा सर के
एक्सपीरियंस
लिए,
मिलेगा।
बत्रा सर के लिए, नॉट फॉर मी।
सर एक चीज और थी, जो मॉक टेस्ट था उससे पहले की हमारी जो डिस्कशन चल रही थी, हम वो भी कर सकते हैं कि हम एक जो प्रैक्टिकल फ्रेमवर्क है पोर्टल का, और जो प्रोसीजर है कितने डॉक्यूमेंट्स बनते हैं, क्या फाइलिंग है, वो भी हम इसके ऊपर भी एक सेशन रख सकते हैं 1 आवर का, ताकि मेंबर्स को पहले
आप बना
पता
लो
हो।
जो बनाना है ना। अगर 2 दिन का ट्रिब्यूनल रखना हुआ था, देन इट विल बी सर्टिफिकेट कोर्स। मैं उसका बकायदा सर्टिफिकेट दे दूंगा सी एसोसिएशन की तरफ से, कि आपको सर्टिफिकेट दे दिया कि यू आर मतलब ट्रिब्यूनल में मतलब आपने लर्निंग की है, जो अटेंड किया है एज ए पार्टिसिपेंट, अलग सर्टिफिकेट दे देंगे, एज ए अटेंडी अलग सर्टिफिकेट दे देंगे। तो वो सर्टिफिकेट कोर्स बना देंगे 2 दिन का। आप 1 दिन का वो डॉक्यूमेंट पे रख लो, नेक्स्ट डे हम हियरिंग पे रख लेंगे, चाहे ऐसे बना लो।
डेफिनेटली सर।
हाँ, नवंबर में ना आप ऐसे बना लो। ठीक है सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू एवरीवन फॉर